Welcome to r/entitled people, where we share stories from your lives about people who think the rules don't apply to them, and they should get what they want. Thank you, friends, for subscribing to the channel, and for so many likes. And today we have 3 great stories, so subscribe, hit the like button, and let's begin. The first story, Chaos at the Bowling Alley, when They're Just Kids turns into a parenting nightmare. The second story, Saucy Showdown, the battle over ketchup that almost got me fired. The third story, Tales of Betrayal, Loyalty, and Poached Talent. The first story is, They're Just Kids. That's what one of the dads kept yelling when the cops showed up to escort out the remaining parents and their children from a small birthday party in the bowling alley my restaurant is connected to, and serves. I was the lane runner for the restaurant and alley last Friday night when this altercation transpired. For y'all who don't know, a lane runner is what we call the server whose main responsibility is waiting on the patrons and guests in the bowling alley. Friday nights are my surprisingly small league nights, where 3-man bowling teams take up only 13 to 16 lanes, along with the friends and family in tow. I tend to everyone solo with some support from the servers that mans the restaurant. This is basically how the verbal exchange went down between me and that mad lad of a dad, who was also holding his toddler daughter, as he stormed past me and towards the front counter. Me, "Excuse me, sir, the parents in your party were warned on numerous occasions to keep your children under better supervision. Unfortunately, this wasn't addressed diligently, and we had to ask your party to leave. Some of you are refusing to do so, and that's why the cops are here now. I'll explain the reasons why your party was told to leave. Dad, but they're just kids." Me, "Yes, and these kids are running through and on the lanes in the pathway. They're getting hurt and causing accidents. This isn't a playground. This is where the numerous complaints started and just began piling up. Dad, they're just kids." Me, "Yes, I understand they're children and I have a few myself. I personally almost spilt hot food and beverages from my cart and trays when the kids from your group suddenly ran out into the pathway and into the lobby and other areas of this restaurant. One child even laid down on the floor in front of me when I yelled beep beep coming through and didn't get up. A toddler almost walked out of the facility twice as I left the restaurant, and I played goalie until her mom saw and came running. Dad, they're just kids. You put us at the end of the lanes closest to the restaurant and exit. This isn't our fault." Me, "Sir, that section was the only area to place your party due to the league taking up the majority of the lanes. This was explained to you and y'all agreed to be placed there when y'all showed up. We have a party room you could have reserved if you called us beforehand. Dad, they're just kids." Me, "Did you know that another toddler similar to yours, witnessed by other guests and patrons, was walking up a waxed lane and fell down and bumped her head? Her mom was literally a few feet away." Dad, "Not my daughter. They're just kids. You shouldn't have put us right next to the diner entrance and exit." Me, "These kids were barely being supervised, and regardless of what lanes your party was placed at, the outcome would have been the same. In reality, it would have been worse. These league members don't play. They respect this establishment and would have told your children to quit the horseplay and running around. They would tell your parents to do a better job in supervising them, for the safety of your children and the other patrons here. This ain't a playground." Dad, "You obviously don't have kids and don't know what it's like. You shouldn't have kids in here then." Me, holding on to my composure, "I said I have kids too. My 9 and 10-year-old sons are here right now, and they know better than to run around like that. And every Saturday morning is the youth league, and all the lanes are taken up by children at the same age as yours and older, who respect the bowling alley and have parents and coaches that keep them focused and behaved." Dad, walking towards the exit, "What the F ever. This is BS. You're BS, and this bowling alley is effing BS. I can't believe you called the cops over effing kids. They're just kids." Me, losing my composure, "Really? You're just gonna keep interrupting me and ignore the reasons your party's getting kicked out? You're just gonna walk away and discard the safety issues and hazards caused by your party? You're just gonna blame it on the kids and not on your duty as a responsible parent?" Dad, "You can shut the F up now. I'm not gonna take this SH. They're just kids and you're all a bunch of idiots." Me, now peeved off, "Then leave, and don't you ever come back. Do better as parents." Dad joins the other adults and is immediately handled by the other cop, who begins to talk to him. Mad Dad's demeanor changed and he relaxed more as they're all escorted out. The league bowlers watching this exchange clapped and whistled for me on how I was standing up to this obviously clueless and entitled dad and his group. The other officer and the pair of cops that showed up walked towards me and told me to relax and requested my statement, which I happily divulged. A couple league members walked up as well and acted as my witnesses to verify and attest to my beginning professional attempt in explaining the reasons for kicking the party out. I didn't call the police. My buddy working the alley counter did, and he had to deal with more than I did. That group was a nightmare, and they'll probably be banned after the managers discuss the incident later today. As a fellow parent to elementary school-age children, I cannot even fathom this dad's reasoning. The lack of discipline displayed by these kids is a direct reflection of their parents' neglect to supervise properly and diligently. And to top it off, they were military soldiers, their spouses and their children. It's disappointing and sad to see members of the armed forces behaving this way, and doing the bare minimum to correct it, or apologize. I truly respect the members of our armed forces, but there will always be a group or individuals that don't measure up, and sometimes tarnish the reputation of these branches. My kids don't act up like that in public. I attempt to explain the importance of situational awareness, etiquette, and public safety to them. I also have them practice numerous times daily. I got them saying behind, corner, and other industry lingo when necessary. So that's my current tale as experienced from a fellow lane-running server in this sub from last Friday night. With over 2 decades of experience in the restaurant industry, I've never experienced such gross negligence and disgusting entitlement this group displayed. And it won't be the last time either. Oh, what wonderful parents. Here we have true champions of parenting and child control. Why not give them a medal for best parenting skills? After all, as this Father of the Year tells us, they're just kids. I guess that's the whole secret to successful parenting. Ignore the fact that your precious little angel is running around in the driveway, might get porpoised and put other guests in danger. And of course, how could we forget that all this happened at a bowling alley, where kids usually spend their time like they're in kindergarten, right? After all, bowling is a natural environment for them to run around and swing balls around, creating chaos and danger for everyone around them. Why not make bowling a free attraction for kids? And of course, when you have adults sooner and their spouses in your group, you can expect them to be examples of discipline and responsibility. After all, the military has an obligation to be great parents, doesn't it? Haha. All in all, it's wonderful to see parents like this who so inspire the rest of us with their parenting skills. We should all learn from them how to not watch their kids and not worry about the safety of others. Because as this philosopher father says, they're just kids. What an idiot. The second story is, entitled Karen tries to get me fired over tomato ketchup. Here's our star-studded cast. Me, EM, the Mega Karen. EMF, Karen's friend. WB, work buddy. BB, big boss. The first thing to note is I work in a very well-known fast food chain that the staff of are often looked down upon, cause having this job must mean I failed education. I actually have a degree, but I like my job here, and we have a policy that our bosses try and enforce even if we think it's stupid. The policy is that if you have a meal, you get 1 sauce sachet for free. They're 10 pence for any extra, as the store lost $5,000 last year from free sauces being given out, which is crazy. Enter Karen. Her and 2 other Karens bring their actually really nice kids in and come to my till to place their order. I give the kids balloons as they're really polite and sweet. It was 2 boys and a girl, shouldn't be older than 7. We get to the end of the order and ask if they would like sauces, explaining that it would be an extra charge, after she asked for 3 pounds worth of ketchup. Also bear in mind we have pumps of sauces that are free. She tells me to take them off the order after I explain, and I give her a receipt and tell them to wait to collect their order. I start processing other orders and bagging them up and getting drinks, as it gets fairly busy, and WB is fairly new, so I'm trying to help her and keep her happy as it can get overwhelming. She gets the order ready for EM and hands it over. Now I'm just out of sight at the drink station and here the EM asks for sauces. WB puts them on the tray for her, not knowing the policy yet. I let it slide as I don't want to embarrass her in front of customers. So once she was done, I let her know and we laugh as it really wasn't her fault. Then EMF appeared, hearing me talking to WB, and begins screeching. EMF, I want to speak to your manager. How dare you berate her for having good customer service, you money-grubbing a-hole? Me, I'm sorry, she's new and isn't aware of all the processes yet. EMF, where's your manager? You should not be working with people. Now, I'm a chill person generally and do my best to keep everyone happy. I have really good customer service skills. It's why I'm the only guy on the till. Me, give me a moment, he's in the office. Karen folds her arms, scowling like she just smelled bad eggs. I get my manager and he sighs, coming out to deal with the situation. BB, hello miss, what seems to be the problem? EM, that boy's been nothing but rude. He refused my children's sauce. He shouted at this girl for no reason. He should be fired and I want our meal comped. Wait, for what? I mouthed WTF to WB and she's just as stunned as I am. Then she does the unexpected. WB: I'm sorry, miss, but he did no such thing. He told me something I didn't know, and from what he tells me, you just did this to get free sauces. Silence. No one expected her to speak up as she seems like the timidest person on the planet. It takes a second, but EMF collects herself. EMF: you allow your staff to talk to customers like this? It's disgraceful. BB looks at me. Well done. Thank you for helping our new starters with our policies and procedure. And miss, I won't be comping anything. It's very clear what's going on here. And if you think you're the first person to try and get freebies out of us, you're mistaken. You're only embarrassing yourself and your friends. Now you can either sit down and eat your food or you can leave. I'm not going to punish my staff for doing their job. EMF looked stunned, like someone just slapped her, and my manager pulled me in the office to laugh about the situation and give me Employee of the Month for helping WB with her training. I haven't seen EM or her EMF since, but for some reason I don't feel bad about it. I and WB are now really good friends, now, and we are both looking at stepping up to becoming trainers. I have a few more of these for some reason. Working in fast food attracts EPs. Oh, Karen, you're a real hero of our time. Who would have thought that tiny sauce packets could cause such a stir? But for you, Karen, it's not just sauce, it's a matter of principle. How generous of you to ask the manager for OP to be fired. The manager was clearly impressed with your acting skills. And of course, your friend Karen, finding herself in the same story, backed you up with such a passionate shout that even the neighborhood kettles shook. Bravo, Karen. You always find a time and place to demonstrate your displeasure and demand compensation. And what lovely children you had. Clearly worth teaching them, and it's not just good behavior that counts in life, but the ability to use every moment to get free goodies. What a great example for future generations. No. And of course, our new superhero WB, who decided to be brave and support the OP. How sweet it was to see her stand up for OP and tell the truth in your friend's eyes. I think she understood your game, Karen. Bravo. The third story is surviving the corporate storm. I worked for a small family-owned company that provided IT services for small businesses. The owner was a nice guy. The pay was nice, and the work was interesting as I got to travel to a lot of small towns I would have never otherwise visited. Then we had the all-hands meeting where we were told nearly the same thing. The company was sold as an asset sale. They bought the customers and all the inventory, and we would all need to re-interview for our jobs. The interviews were automatically set up by the new owners and spread out over 3 days. The interviews were just for show. They clearly knew who they were keeping, as you found out at the end of the interview if they were hiring you. Over those 3 days, we watched our friends and coworkers drop like flies, and the attitudes of the survivors went to hell. They made the mistake of interviewing the person who managed our stockroom on the first day and let her go. She unlocked the cage before she left and threw the key in the trash. We made sure all of our fallen comrades walked out with a bunch of expensive equipment as part of their severance packages. They actually kept me, and I stayed on just long enough to get hired somewhere else. It was only 2 or 3 weeks. I gave them 1 week notice on a Monday morning. That afternoon, the owner tried to lecture me about how inconsiderate I was to not give him at least 2 weeks notice, and that they already had me scheduled 3 weeks out. I told him I agreed, but that I felt him putting 20+ people out of work with no notice was also inconsiderate. I left that meeting, grabbed my stuff, and never came back. About a month later, I poached the last remaining employee from the old company. He just so happened to be the guy they had assigned all my clients to. Oops. What sweet revenge. This is a story where good triumphed over evil. A company owner who thought he was wise got a well-deserved lesson on how to properly respect his employees. After he acted cruelly by firing 20+ people without warning, he deserved nothing more than for his last employee to leave too. You should be proud that you won that game of survival and took your client with you. This former boss seems to have learned to respect others in a practical way. Thank you for watching. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.